Hello everybody, this is Peter here from ZZIPP Media down at the Library Harbour Cafe here in Weymouth tonight. I've been at a book signing and a book reading by Janis Martin, who's released her first book,
Yes.
My Very Bones, a book of poetry. So I just flipped the camera around and Janis can tell you all about it.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So, when did you start writing the book?
The book, to actually make the book, to put it all together, to compile it, it was probably about 3 or 4 months ago. But the actual poetry, the poems, I started writing years and years ago. So
Right.
it's from scraps of paper onto the computer and then back out to the computer and into the book.
So it was like a growth.
I didn't know I was going to have a book. I didn't
Right.
know. I decided after having the poems on the computer that perhaps a book would be nice to hold. So I was just going to have the book for myself, and then it grew. Yes.
Right. These things usually do.
Yes.
My mother says they grow like topsy.
Yes, I know that. Yes.
So, what do the poems consist of? You know, are they personal poems or personal nature?
All of the poems in there are from personal observations or experiences in life. It's nature, it's life, it's a mixture of bits and pieces. And I walk a lot, so it's what I see and what I feel and what I smell on my walks. Yeah.
So it's a very, very personal.
It's a very personal one, but I feel that people, if anybody chooses to read them, they will also relate to them. They will have had the experiences as well. Yes,
Right.
definitely.
So the book is on for sale tonight. The signed copies are for
Yes.
sale tonight at £6.50.
£6.99.
£6.99, right. And you've got another signing coming up in Dorchester,
Yes, next Wednesday, the 22nd of May, 7 till 9.
7 to 9.
And that's at the independent bookshop, Books Beyond Words. And
Right.
that's sort of like hoping to draw people down from the north of Dorset.
Right, and the book is also for sale on your website.
It'll be for sale on my website at £6.99, including post and packing,
And
on
also on Amazon.
at £7.99.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll put a link to your website, which is janismartinpoet.co.uk, when this video is published.
Lovely,
Okay?
thank you.
All right.
And I thought this will be good. Let me find all these scraps of paper, put it onto computer. And that wasn't quite enough. Once they're on the computer, you've got to fire up your computer. It's just there. So I got to thinking again that what I'd like to do is take them off the computer, so it's like a full cycle, take them off the computer and put them into a book for me. Just for me. And then I thought, well, maybe some of my friends might like a copy, or my family might like a copy. And when I approached Roma to help me with sort of getting it together, Roma, I have to say, very gently, nudge, nudge, she said, you've come along so far, why not go ahead and just get some books published, okay? And of course then you have to do a book launch. Okay, so we have to find someone to do the book launch, and so we're going in Dorchester, we're going in Weymouth, that's it. That's it. Thank you, Roma.
Of course, the bit you've missed is that putting these pages together has to have a cover, and then you have the most lovely photographer.
I haven't said about photography yet. Yes, thank you, Roma. See we have this rapport. So Roma helped me to put the pages together, and some people might think it's vanity, but I like having and going on photo shoots. I like it. It's good for me, it's good for my confidence. It's not about vanity, it's good for my confidence. And I first went on a photo shoot 3 years ago?
Yes,
3 years ago, yeah, for my 60th
yes.
birthday. And I decided I wanted 60 and sexy. So there was a local photographer, Sean Hepburn, and he still does photography. And the photographs that he did for me, I actually got them on canvas in my house, and they're just beautiful. Those of you who've been in my home, you know they are all about me. And then I had another photo shoot, and I was with Amanda's partner, Doug, and another photo shoot. But this one, I wanted a fun one, this photo shoot, and I went with another friend called Sally Morningstar, who comes from Glastonbury, of course, Sally Morningstar, and she's amazing. I mean, all the photo shoots I've had are amazing. And she came up with these sort of quite cool and hippie type, you know. I mean, I'm not a hippie, maybe a little bit. And when we were looking at the cover, that was the one that sort of came up. And again, it kind of says who I am, kind of. So that was Sally. On the back, a small picture there of me with my lovely dog Nolly. Some of you have heard about Nolly. My fabulous dog. We go on adventures. She gets muddy. She eats baby pheasants and rabbits and vile things like that. But if it wasn't for her the last couple of years, you know, I wouldn't be getting out perhaps quite as much as I do. So we go on adventures. So that photograph was taken by another guy who he's not local, Nigel Ball. He does night photography. You know, you get these wonderful Milky Ways and all that sort of thing. And he goes out mainly in Wales, finds ruins and things like that. Does these wonderful photographs. So he did that for me there. A couple inside, one's by me and another one by Nigel. Have I forgotten anybody? It's all there. It's all there. I'm not going to read the reviews. If you look at the book, you'll see the reviews. I thought Danny might be here tonight, so I could tell him about it. So that's sort of like all the background to where I am tonight. My style of poetry, I've got no formal training whatsoever. I enjoyed English at school. I've just got back to Thomas Hardy, which is brilliant. I just love Thomas Hardy. Having read him at school, now I've gone back and read him again. Brilliant. So I've got no sort of formal training. I don't go to writing courses, writing classes, poetry groups. I do nothing like that. And it was all for me. And now it might be for you. It doesn't rhyme. You know, that poetry, I don't know even what it's called, but it doesn't rhyme. Has it got a proper name? It has, hasn't it? Help me. What, that doesn't rhyme?
No.
Well, anyway, it doesn't rhyme. It just is. So the book is divided into between nature, life, and love. Of course, it is. These reflections through the changing seasons in the first part of the book will appeal to those who enjoy poetry and to anyone observing the world around them, especially when out walking the countryside and spending time at the coast. The second part is a more deeply personal nature related to life experiences, so it's divided into two. I have got all that I'm going to read to you. Okay, but don't worry because they're just short. They're just short. If you get bored, have another drink. It's absolutely fine. The first one I'm going to read to you is called Under Cover of Darkness. And how did I come about that? This is probably one of the ones, Stephen, your sister Sarah, she put a photo up on Facebook. I can't even remember the scene, but she put a photo and then she got back to me and said, how about writing? Yeah.
Remember.
You remember, yeah. And the photo, it was a photo, there was just a tiny sliver. It was, as you're looking towards Portland, and there was just a tiny sliver of sunrise coming up. And she said to me, write about it. Tell me what the photograph tells you, and I'll see what it tells me. So, this is just... No, joking. Right, I'll start again. Moving swiftly, stumbling, caught in the brambles, hidden by darkness. My chest is pained, breath short. The smell of blood trapped, echoes of the strike reverberating. Feet pounding, early morning dew thrust aside, my heart hammering, clambering and slipping, I leap the lichen-clad gate and onto the dark road ahead. For the briefest of moments, I pause and turn to glance at the tenuous slice of light creeping through the gloom and leave the sunrise behind me. That's what I saw in the picture. I don't know what Sarah saw in the picture, but that was my story. I was running from something. I don't have to explain it. Okay, the next one is called Grandmother Moon. Again, those of you that know me, I get very excited about the moon. I cannot help it. As the moon gets fuller and fuller, I get more and more excited. You can laugh, you can mock, I don't care. That's what I feel. I get very, very excited, and I've got to go outside. I've got to look up at the moon. Very, very excited about it all. So this one is called Grandmother Moon. This I can see. Grandmother Moon, she winked at me. She made me smile, dipping and diving between the clouds, revealing herself in part. A huge silver ball brimming with energy to light up the night. I laughed with delight, heard her call my name, inviting me to dance, so filled with glee, I did just that. Never minding the wet grass beneath my feet, I kicked off my shoes and thrilled at the shock, sensing the freedom. Joy entered my being. As I danced in her light, placed trust in her wisdom, beaming with abundance, I whispered to her, held my hands up high and felt her gentle smile, her kiss upon my brow as a tear of gratitude formed in my eye. And in that brief moment, in her lunar embrace, I felt complete. I get so excited about the moon. I do go out there and I'm like, yes, yes, that's who I am. Does anybody know that about me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit personal, but
Oh my God,
yeah.
it's the moon again.
Yeah.
Right, what should we do now?
Yes, and it's getting closer. Oh. So the next one is about observing. It's about observing. And this one is called the spider. I was sat at work. I used to work at the Land Registry for hundreds of years. And in quiet moments of boredom, you just start looking around. Did I say that? You start looking around and your mind goes wandering off and things like that. And I spotted a spider. There was my inspiration. Nobody around, quick note. The rain falls gently as fine mist, tiny droplets suspended around a spider's web outside the window. Caught on its delicate threads and in the gentle breeze, the diamond crystal filigree becomes alive as if breathing in and out. But don't be fooled, for in the centre of this net is a long-legged solitary spider, still as still can be, watching and waiting with all 8 eyes alert. He startles for an instant as a larger droplet hits his web and vibrates under the weight. The spider anticipates his prey. Before his senses tells him false alarm, and he settles back to wait. You like that one?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I mean, when I reread these things, I can actually see what I saw back then. And like I say, it doesn't rhyme. It's for me, and hopefully you enjoy some of it too. I'm making excuses here. Walking. I go out walking quite a lot. Some of you know that. It's all on Facebook. Before I had Nolly, my dog, I used to go out for the day, and it was a privilege just to be able to spend that time, because by this time I'd gone part-time at work, and I could change my days around as I wished to, and so if it's a nice day I could pretty well say, I'm not coming in, I'm going to change my hours or whatever it might be. And it's a privilege to be able to have that freedom, to have my health, to have an active mind and things like that. And as you're out walking, taking the time, because you're on your own, no pressures, nobody to rush home to, no dogs to feed or anything like that, and you can stop and just be in the moment, as they say these days, and observe and things like that again. So Hillfort, the next one, although it's sort of relatively short, it's the whole day. I started off walking and go through to the end of the day. yeah. Okay. So not only I just started the day, but I am actually lying on the ground. I just have to tell you that. So I knew what I was doing when I wrote it, but I'll just tell you I was lying on the ground. I do that quite often outside. So, Hilfort, tilt your head just to one side and let your eyes go lazy. A whole new world opens up before you. The silvery lines of cobwebs stretching from blade of grass to blade of grass, like elfin hurdles, only visible in the sunshine. The water sprites stand by the river, languishing amongst wooden posts and fencing, watching and waiting as the water rushes by. Noisily, it divides against the stone pillar. Some of the water escapes, turning back on itself, creating ripples in the muddy pond. Around the old gnarled tree, holding memories from the distance past of people passing, stopping to rest a while, or lovers sharing time together before departing, the spirit of the tree looks down upon them all, wrapping them in her care. Her autumnal yellowing leaves twisting and twirling towards the ground, gently clacking as they hit the branches, creating a wonderful blanket beneath to keep her roots warm until spring. And the ancient burial mound from times gone by sits atop the hill fort, surrounded by the safety of the grassy ramparts. The ancestors taking comfort their knowledge and wisdom contained securely therein. Anybody know which hill fort that is?
Hardy's Monument.
Which one? That's not Hardy's. I can't.
Egerton?
No.
Egerton?
No. No.
Charlbury,
No. One more.
Maiden,
Who?
Maiden Castle.
Maiden Castle. On the top of Maiden Castle, you may or may not be aware, there are a couple of, it's a long barrow, isn't it? It's a long barrow, but the ramparts was what it was. So I started the day actually over Poundbury. So the hill fort at Poundbury, and it was early in the morning, so when you're lying on the ground and you can see those cobwebs, you know those long ones between the blades of grass that just shimmer in the sunshine. So from Poundbury all the way across to Maiden Castle, but you didn't know that. Can I keep going?
Yes.
Yeah? Not bored yet?
Not yet.
Have another drink here.
Okay.
This one I quite like. I haven't got a favourite, by the way. I have not got a favourite. This one I quite like. It's called Lost in Thought. And again, it's just about walking, stopping, taking in, whatever's going on around you. The rush of water alerts me whilst walking through the field, alive with vibrant colours, daisies competing with dandelions, pink clover swaying in the still warm breeze, and there a low bridge spans the meandering stream, twinkling with magical rainbows caught at day's end as the sun begins its slow descent. Tall trees holding back the sandy banks with wooden tendrils dipping their toes in the water, burying themselves in the muddy bed. Resting my arms upon the cast iron rail for the briefest of moments, lost in thought, I wonder if others have done the same. Imagining those that will take the time from their busy lives to pause and give thanks to Mother Nature as she goes about her business. That one was at Broadmain, so cutting across fields and things like that. There was this stream and there were iron railings. You don't often see iron railings these days because they were all collected, weren't they, for the war and everything. So just taking your time and I love it, lost in thought. So they're sort of like the ones about nature and life, my life as I'm wandering around. These last, I'm going to go with it. I said I wasn't going to read any personal ones, but I've got it written up here. Okay. Make of it what you will. I will just read it to you and I will move on from it. And if I get a bit emotional, it's because I do. It's called My Little One. Okay. He said you had to leave me. He said you could not stay. But really, truly, honestly, I dreaded that awful day. You weren't supposed to be here. He didn't want you around. But oh my precious little one, if only you could have made some sound. They said you had to leave me, and quite a lot I cried, because my special little one, you know how hard I tried. It'll pass, they told me. It's all for the best. I could not move past that heartache, the pain inside my chest. Those days were just surreal, so little time to say goodbye. Happiness turned to sorrow, my life a hazy blur, not to question why. Although I had to move on, a forward step each day, I will always remember you, little one, but you'll soon forget, they say. So, moving on. Maybe a few years after, like I say, it's all about life. A few years after that, I had an experience. I'll read it first. It's called The Sleeping Child. All is quiet, this dead of night. The child beside me sleeps. The only sound is gentle breath. A sigh escapes her lips. She dreams a dream of great adventure, flinging out an arm, kicking out her feet. I can only smile in wonder, with eyes tightly closed, as tears run down my cheeks. The ghost of the girl, my little girl, her memory forever lingers. I didn't know when I had this experience whether I was asleep or awake. The child, the little girl, my little girl, was in bed beside me. I have two sons. I don't have any girls. She was in bed beside me, and when I woke up, like I say, I don't know if at the time whether I was sleeping or awake, but when I woke up, I kid you not, there was a dent in the bed beside me. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, on that note, I've just, by the by, before I read one more out to you, I've discovered I have a presence in my house. His name is Alfred, and he's about when I smell his tobacco from a pipe. And I know that he sits in the dining room part of my house. He has a cap. I just know he's there. Isn't that interesting? And he's only come into my life in the last few weeks. Nice man. Right, so the final one. I'm glad to see you're all awake. But you know what, with poetry, it is just, isn't it? It's personal. Okay. This one, again, is a very personal to me. Some of you may know the background, some of you may not, but it's just as it is. It's called Sadness. Now here's the thing, don't you know, that life has changed. Hidden from sight, whilst all the while I know I'm right. Aware of issues, time is a healer. Endless patience, staying focused, staying calm, avoid the fight. Each day a living battle, an anxious nightmare. Without a base, a place to call my own, more lonely than ever imagined. Surrounded by friends, loved ones, offers of help, support and kindness. People willing to hold my hand. But this is my journey. I must travel alone. Many a mountain to climb, feeling my way as a new dawn awaits to brighten the day. I'm ready to face whatever comes next. That's it. So, thank you all very much for being kind and listening, and I kept looking around and you were all awake, which is fantastic.
If you get the chance, go up to Dorchester and buy the book. All right, bye for now.